right, I gotta be the first to say I love your new haircut.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's very kick-ass, Willa. Are we gonna see the flashback of anything pertaining to that, or that's just what she is now?
It's kind of just the way that she is now, and I'm pretty happy about that. I've been trying to get the haircut in for a while, and now it kind of makes a lot of sense, I think. So it's pretty good.
Tell us what kind of fight training you went through for this.
I mean, I'm still going through it. still learning a lot. But I've been doing a lot of weightlifting, hitting the gym a lot with my trainer, Brady Roberts, who tortures me on a daily basis for at least an hour every day of the week, like 7 days a week, Sundays even. And basically I've been working, I don't know if I can reveal with the other trainers that I've been working with, but I have been focusing on weightlifting and just kind of getting my mobility going, and I've been hitting a few fronts, like kind of like dabbling in almost everything the show has been offering, so it's been kind of nice.
We did see you do martial arts.
Okay, yeah. Yes, that's right. They have revealed some of the katana, which has been awesome. That's been one of my favorite things that I've been able to learn to do. It's like crazy awesome martial arts sword training, and that has been amazing. I don't know if I can reveal too much about it, though. I don't.
Is it fun to do the action sequences now that maybe you didn't do in past seasons?
It's probably my favorite part about my job. That's half the reason why I signed on to Arrow in the first place, is because, you know, the teasing of Speedy was in the pilot, and so I kind of just had this idea, all right, I'm going to inevitably, if I'm on a DC show, maybe I'll suit up and get to do some awesome stuff. And it's slowly starting to happen, so I'm quite happy about it.
Have you done the salmon ladder yet?
God, no. I am not like... Katie Lotz is like a legendary woman in my mind, because she's like the only female who's actually been able to prove it to us, and it's like, okay, wow.
Well, if it was one of the things you signed on for, were there sort of conversations over the first couple of years? You know, when is this coming? When is this coming? Am I just going to be sort of waiting around again, being a victim again? You know, when is this coming?
It has been a conversation I have had quite a few times with the producers and the writers, but justifiably so. They put it out that they needed to bring out the origins for all of us, which it made so much sense. And Thea needed to go through an arc in her own that would bring her to the point that she's at right now, when she's gone through so much stress and turmoil in the last 2 seasons. So I think that the girl is kind of justifiably in a place that she is right now.
Well, this week's next episode is a big one for you to do the flashbacks. What can you tease about the hour?
Ooh, I mean, you guys saw the little bit of the place that I've been, or Thea's been, Corto Maltese. She's been there since she hopped in that limo with Malcolm, and as you can see, he's been kind of putting her under his wing a little bit for the last 5 months. So she's been up to, not necessarily up to no good, she's just been up to something a little bit different for Thea.
What can you say about the relationship with Malcolm? And, you know, obviously there's a lot of reasons not to just trust the guy, but now that we pick up with him a few months later, you know, is there some trust there, or is there still a lot of wariness?
I think that there is weirdly some trust there between Thea and Malcolm, because obviously they have this, you know, blood relation, and Malcolm has kind of proven the fact that he wouldn't want to put Thea into harm's way, really. He does actually care for her, because he does know that she is his blood and kind of the last living that he has right now. So I think that there's obviously, knowing Malcolm's past, there's definitely this kind of weird... it's definitely hard for Thea to trust him, but I think over the last 5 months, she's kind of gotten to know Malcolm in a different way than everybody else has seen him. So she's definitely, they have a different type of relationship than you would expect from them off the bat.
Well, the relationship has progressed to the point where she is openly saying, like, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
In these flashbacks, are we going to be seeing them grow closer together as a father-daughter relationship?
Yes and no. They're definitely, you're just going to see a very interesting father and daughter relationship. The Thea Queen and Malcolm Merlin relationship is not going to be anything anywhere near normal, and I don't think anybody would expect it to be. But it's I don't know if I can reveal too much about it. You'll definitely see in the next episode. Like, it will pretty much explain their relationship the way that it is right now in the next episode.
Thea was so adamant about leaving Starling City behind. What could possibly pull her back to that city?
I think the one thing that could always pull her back is Oliver, and her love for him and that side of her family, as well as Roy. She has a lot in Starling City, of course, it's her home. But right now I don't think that she has anything in her mind to go back. I think she's kind of found a new Thea queen and is very happy with who she is at the moment.
When the producers told you who Thea's father was, did you think back to the notion that she was trying to hit on Tommy in season 1?
Oh, yes, I did. As well as I thought about the pilot when Tommy's talking about Thea and like how like she's, what did he say? Like how she's grown into a hot something. I don't know. It was just kind of creepy now knowing the circumstances. But it was definitely a little interesting thing going back there, thinking about that one.
Can you talk a little bit about the first time that Thea sees Oliver? Because Stephen was telling us a little bit about how he knows that truth is going to be the thing that kind of draws her back, but not exactly how much truth is the question. And so can you talk a little bit about that?
When Oliver sees Thea in Corto Maltese? Yeah, I mean, he does definitely start to open up to her a little bit more, because the main reason why she had to leave is just because of all of the lies and everything that she has just been battling through the last 2 seasons. And in all honesty, Malcolm, yes, he is who he is, but the one thing that he hadn't done to Thea was lie to her about who he was. He's very open and honest about it. So I think that's something very interesting about their relationship. But pertaining to Oliver and Thea, when it comes to, you'll see definitely in the next episode, he definitely tries to open up to her and be more honest with her, but it's not, I mean, it may be in the way that we think, but it also might not be. It's really hard when they tell you these are things that you're not allowed to say, and these are questions you get asked.
What about her relationship with Roy when she comes back? What can you say about that?
There is always going to be a lot of love and a huge bond between Thea and Roy. They've definitely shaped each other into the people that they are right now. I think they grounded each other in amazing ways and are very aware of that with each other's relationship. I don't think that they're going to be rekindling anytime soon, but there's definitely always that hope in the future.
There's a new guy coming in for you, Austin Butler. Can you preview all how they kind of start to interact?
I mean, the little thing that they have released is that Austin is a DJ who comes to our club, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say too much about him other than Austin Butler is amazing and that his character's name is Chase.
So what has it been like working regularly with John? And do you ever sing with him when you finish takes, or do you just let him go and do his thing all on his own?
Most of the time you just got to sit back and watch John do John, because it's just kind of one of the most amazing things you could ever witness in your life. And a lot of times he just brings you into it and you can't say no. So it's kind of 50-50 at the end of each take. But regardless, every single time we work together, it's pretty hard to focus on the actual job at hand.
Well, tell us about something that he brought you into.
Let's see. When we were shooting the scene where I actually was shooting him, it was kind of like the few takes we had to do in the first place, we were doing rehearsals and he just couldn't, I can't even remember exactly what it was that he was doing, but it was the look on his face and just this weird smile that he would give to me, and I just could not take it seriously. It was like, I need to, I can't. It was just kind of amazing. I mean, just picture John.
Does Thea have any concerns about Queen Consolidated or Ray Palmer or anything like that? I mean, she's technically not a queen, but she was raised a queen.
I think that Thea has tried to push herself away from the whole Queen Consolidated scenario, especially when it comes to all the ties and lies that she is half the reason why she kind of needed to leave anyway. I think that she's kind of staying clear from that stuff for the moment.
Thea now, at this point, is the closest person to Oliver who doesn't know his secret. And you think that's kind of a bit of a ticking time bomb, and that, as you were saying, John was saying, at least Malcolm is being honest, maybe in his own manipulative way, but the fact that our brother's keeping this huge secret, is that something that could really come to bite him in the ass, maybe? I
mean, I've always been asked as how do you think Thea's going to react to when she finds out Oliver is the arrow, and it will always be very circumstantial. It's kind of impossible to tell how she's going to react unless we know where she's going to be physically at that place, like how she is with herself and if she's been lied to recently and how upset she is and everything like that. There's definitely a lot of circumstances into it, but I definitely, she's definitely still in the dark, and as of now, I don't think it would go over that lightly.
Mm-hmm. I guess on the flip side on that is Roy now, having his own identity. Is that something she could ever conceive of?
I definitely think that the possibility of her figuring out Roy is Arsenal is quicker than her figuring out Oliver is the Arrow. I think that she's kind of has more of because she's kind of seen the trajectory that Roy has taken, and it kind of almost looks as if it's going like that way for her. She's always been playing around with knowing the idea that he's worked with the Arrow or done some things with the Arrow. So I think she's kind of just not alluding to the fact that she knows, but possibly does have an idea.
She knows he loves the red hoodie.
Exactly. That's true.
What does Thea want out of life right now? Like, what are her goals?
Oh, God. Thea's goals are just to be whole again. That's something that she continuously has always tried to find, and I feel like the moment that she's gotten to a good place, something that just kind of knocks her back down again, and she's just kind of in a place where she doesn't ever want to be hurt, and she won't really let anybody hurt her, so she's kind of in a lot of more of a stronger place with herself. But out of life, really, I think that I think she might be a little torn and a bit lost at the moment with that, trying to figure that one out, having this whole Malcolm Merlin discovery and now having this new relationship with him, and not being in Starling City. There's definitely a lot of things that I think are up in the air for her at the moment, but she's just she's one of those people that are right now taking everything day by day, kind of.
Kind of following up a little bit on that. Is her grief over her mother's death being addressed at all this season, or is it kind of just implicit in her actions and her, kick-ass attitude that she's been burned and she can't really deal with another loss?
I mean, there's definitely a lot of the kick-ass attitude inside of her right now that's showing how strong she's become over the last 5 months, and she definitely has been dealing with the loss for a while. But I think it'll always kind of seep back into her. She's always going to be the little girl who watched the horrifying thing happen to her mother. And I don't think that could really leave anybody easily.
Now, both Thea and Roy have been training for the past 5 months and really honing in on those skills. From a Willa point of view, you know both of the characters. What do you think would happen if we got a Speedy and Arsenal face-off?
Ooh.
Is she up to par just yet?
Roy's had a little bit more training going on than she has. I mean, he's got a few months of working with the Arrow and an actual field training per se. But Thea's a quick learner. I say it's a pretty close fight. I mean, she's quick. She's definitely quick.
Are you keeping your fingers crossed that you will get to have that showdown?
I mean, I'm getting my fingers crossed that I get to have any awesome showdown. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be fighting Arsenal or Roy, but it could be absolutely anybody.
Is Willa a quick learner, or are you having trouble with some of those?
I'm actually surprisingly a quick learner. I totally thought that it was going to be a lot harder than it was, and some of the things are actually very, very difficult. The katana thing is very, very difficult. But when it comes to other things, I was quite surprised at how I was a bit of a quick learner. And then I'm also quick on picking up the muscle, I guess.
I know it's a little spoilery, but is there anything you can tell us you've been particularly good at so far?
I can't. I would love to. I have a video on my phone that I would love to show you guys, but I can't. Whenever I'm allowed to, I will leak it out, and then everybody can see it. So, trust me. There's definitely some things that I've been doing that have been quite fun.
Is there a DC character that you're hoping to embody?
I mean, I think Speedy has always been kind of on the track. But really anybody. Just the idea of being able to kick some ass is just kind of like the most exciting thing to me. Being a part of the show is kind of like what you do, right?
What can you say about Thea's role in the Flash crossover? When we talked to Mark Guggenheim, some of us a couple weeks ago, he pointedly used as an example of characters as, what would Cisco think of Thea? So what would Cisco think of Thea? And what can you say about that whole situation?
I mean, Again, I'm not allowed to say much about specifically that, actually. Was told specifically not to mention stuff about the Flash crossovers, but it's great. What words can I use to put into a sentence that would make sense? She is in an episode that is
television.
And then there's other characters from another episode of different television that are in that one. And they interact. Yeah, they interact. They do.
Interesting.
If and when
I'm sorry.
if and when Thea gets a code name, will it necessarily be Speedy, or could it be Artemis or something like that?
I mean, it's always been teased to be Speedy, but it's very up in the air, I feel like. The DC universe is always, or especially in our version of the DC universe, when it comes to being on our pages, it's sometimes rewritten and changed, so I don't quite have the answer to that. But I wish I did, and if I did, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you anyway. I'm sorry.